So I see that you just started producing music though. Yeah?
It's a journey. It's definitely
Oh,
a
girl, it is a
journey.
journey. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning. I also, it's hard because it's the idea of sitting in front of a laptop with the, keys and just trying to do things that is not so intuitive. And I find such an art in creating a journey and creating a bigger art piece with other people's art. And so I love that aspect of DJing. So for me, it's like two totally different worlds. And I'm trying.
It is. It totally is. It's, I mean, and like also the, producers have now become DJs so they could tour their music in a sustainable way, but like actually there's such different skill sets and they're completely different things. But I think that I've become a better producer because I've DJ'd, because I know the dance floor wants, like I know sort of how to lay out a track in a way that I would want to have a track be played for the dance floor. And so that has benefited the production, but learning how to produce is just such a different skill set. But it is like once you get comfortable with like knowing where everything, like knowing how to get the sound from your head into the DAW, like knowing where all the buttons are and what you need to understand how to operate the system, then you really do. It's like so fun to tell the journey of the song that you're making, and so I think if you like that part, you're gonna love it. If you like reach that tipping point of getting comfortable, it took probably honestly like being comfortable in Ableton. I mean, it's still like if I don't it's like a muscle. It's like practicing the piano. If I don't open it, if I go a month without opening it, like I'll be rusty as fuck. It probably took me like consistently every single day going in there. It took me years to like really be able to do what I wanted to do.
You produced music before DJing though, right?
Yeah, I was producing music for a band that I was in. I was like in a synth sci-fi band, and so I started actually in Pro Tools because I was recording live instruments. I was recording drums and layering them with electronic drums and recording like singer, and so like the playlisting aspect of Pro Tools was way better than Ableton. And now Ableton just released their newest version with playlisting, which is great. But yeah, it was definitely like I started in Pro Tools and I was like recording other people's live instruments and putting them together was a kind of a good intro into having to make all the parts myself, you know? But and it got me comfortable sitting behind a computer. But also, like, I don't love to sit in a dark space with really loud speakers and just staring at a computer screen all day. I was like, I left an office job because I hated doing this.
Right, and now back to it.
Anytime I get to like record instruments or be in a room with another person, I really love that. But because it is like, being a really good electronic music producer requires a lot of solidarity or solitude time. Not solidarity,
for sure. Yeah,
solitude and like solidarity in yourself. And I guess that part's been like lonely, kind of.
Yeah, I imagine. And I think that's the part that I'm struggling with also too, because it seems like post-COVID there are so many DJs that if you want to get anywhere, people are like, are you producing it? Are you producing it? It's like,
it's so true. I was going to say, like, you do, if you sort of, but unfortunately now in the DJ world where like it's a different skill set, you have to move forward, you do have to be producing your music, and you're like, it's such a weird mind fuck. It is because I started with the band and then I started touring with Sophie Tucker, so then I started wanting to make music that I would play in my own sets with them as like more like electronic dance music. So then I started producing dance music. But it definitely worked for me that way, and I think that if I had just gone in through it from DJing, I'd be like, DJing is my skill set. What do you mean?
And don't get me wrong, there's so many, like you said, as soon as I figure out the DAW well, I know that I will love it because there's so much music I have in my head that I want to create.
And because you're such a good DJ, I know that you're going to be great at making dance music.
Oh, thank you.
So I think that you'll really enjoy the journey of making music once you can actually like quickly just do what you want to do without having to, look on a YouTube video.
Exactly. That's the thing. The tiniest little things. I'm like, okay, YouTube video, how do I do this? 100%. An hour later, I'm like, okay, I did it.
Dude, 100%. It was like I had to be like, okay, Leah, let's set up a reward system for you. If you sit in the studio for 3 hours, you can eat a cookie. I literally gave myself gold stars because it was so painful for me when I first started. I get it. I feel for you on that. But I say keep going because more female producers That's what we're looking for.
I know. And it's funny because Alex was the first one to suggest connecting me with you, and then I was in Turkey with Filu, and
No
it came up in
way!
conversation, and she was like, I just did an interview with LP for Femme House. And
Wait,
she's
how
like,
do you know Filu?
How do I know Filu? I don't know. I guess New York, maybe. Actually, I know Filu from like 3 different groups of people. One is Chambord. One is some friends in New York that are from Paris. But I adore her.
I adore her.
And
oh my
she's
god,
killing it.
She's crushing it. She released a track on Yes Yes Yes, my label.
She told me, she's like, I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but it's coming soon.
Yeah. And then we played together at my album release party in Amsterdam at ADE, and it's like her, me, and Dear Jade, and
Cher, right?
Yes, we had so much fun. Oh my god, it was
so much fun.
I was like, it's like a girl band. We're like a pop group.
And somebody told me that was their favorite set of ADE.
Oh, that's so awesome. It was so fun. Oh my gosh.
It looks
okay,
so
and also,
fun.
your artist name is Ali Mae?
Yes.
And what is your real name, or is that your
Allison.
name?
My middle name is Mae. So,
oh, great. Amazing.
Yeah.
That
My
is
grandmother's
authentically you.
name.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to read a little blurb about you and then ask you a handful of questions, and it should be pretty painless.
Okay.
You are listening to Femme House Radio with your host, LP Giobbi, and this week we have New York-based, starting over, you're New York-born, Mexico City-based.
Correct.
You are listening to Femme House Radio with your host, LP Giobbi, and this week we have New York-born, Mexico City-based artist Ali Mae. She taught herself to mix and gained recognition in NYC's underground music scene, where she further developed her artistic voice and signature sound. Since then, she has been honored to play around the world, from the beaches of Turkey and clubs of Ibiza to medieval citadel in Transylvania, even right back to where it all began in the dusty paradise of Black Rock City. Her current music style blends the nostalgic elements of house music with the rich, diverse sounds of world music, often incorporating Afro percussions and Latin grooves. Recently, Ali has ventured into music production, spending time in the studio working on her own music. Ultimately, whether through her sets or her productions, she aims to spread joy and unite during times when she believes the world needs it most. Welcome to Femme House Radio, Ali Mae.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Thanks for being here. Tell us your origin story. How did you get into electronic dance music?
So I had been really into the music itself, but it wasn't until Burning Man 2018, it was my first Burning Man, my friend had a conversation with me where he was like, you are so into the music, you know so much about it, why don't you start DJing? And I was like, oh, I don't know if it's for me. He's like, look, just get a little controller, take YouTube videos and teach yourself and have some fun just making some mixes and don't take it too seriously. And I was like, okay, it could be a fun little winter hobby. And so I started making mixes and putting them on SoundCloud for friends. And I knew I was really into it because I would be for hours just playing at home by myself and not even looking at my phone, not even knowing what time it was. And I was like, whoa, this is what they're talking about when they say flow state. This is so cool.
Yes.
And so I still was not really having intentions in playing in front of people because I found it so nerve-wracking. But then my favorite venues in New York were reaching out to me through SoundCloud to say, I've been listening to your music. Do you want to play? I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. And I did it. And then that's when I fell in love with it because it's like a conversation with people and you're in control of making people experience joy and uniting people and making them feel present, which I think is so powerful. And so then I was like, okay, this is why everybody DJs. This is so fun.
I love that. I love that so much. Ah, that's beautiful. And have you had any mentors along the way, or how have you found that to be?
So when I wasn't taking it too seriously, I was playing a bit in New York, but then COVID happened and I was in Tulum and I got introduced to Bora Uzer. And I
love him. Oh my God.
So I recognized the name and I was like, oh, we were supposed to play a party in New York together in March, but COVID happened. So this is like the end of 2020. And he's like, oh, no way. And so he's like, what are you doing tomorrow? It's my birthday. Long story short, he and I become super good friends, where we were living 2 blocks apart from each other in Tulum, and he had a serious conversation with me that really changed the whole trajectory of my career. And he was like, you know, you love doing this. You can travel the world, get paid to do something you love, meet amazing people, go amazing places. Do you have something better to do? And I was like, no. I was working in reality TV, and I was like, it wasn't fulfilling my soul, and music was. And I was like, that is such a good point. He's like, okay, so if you're ready to take it seriously, I'm playing at Papaya Playa. I'll book you to open for me. And then he just like really mentored me while I was living in Tulum. And it's funny because he and I are still really good friends, and he always just pops back into my life when I feel like I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? And I'll be in Ibiza.
Fairy godmother.
He is. He totally is. And he's like so my big brother.
Oh, what beautiful allyship too. Oh, I adore him. I think that he is so special, and like is just so magnetic and joyous in a room, and it makes sense that y'all are friends.
And even just now, flying back from Miami, I was supposed to fly with a friend. I was playing at Do Not Sit, and I was going to fly back to Mexico with a friend. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take an earlier flight. I take an earlier flight. Bora's on it.
No
like,
way!
How? You always pop up into my life. Like,
I love that. What struggles, if any, have you found during this journey?
I think, you know, I was never really... I think what struggles let me see,
like mentally or physically, or you know, like along conquering your...
I think one of the biggest things is the social media thing. The fact that when I first started 8 years ago, it was people would ask for your SoundCloud, and now all they care about is your Instagram. And to me, it's hard not to fall into this trap of comparing myself to people who maybe they were models and they have a massive Instagram following, and they are now DJing, so it looks like they have a massive Instagram following because they're DJing and they're playing all these amazing events around the world, but then on SoundCloud it's like 100 followers. So it's hard not to take it personally, and it's hard also to, you know, people are always telling me, you got to get on TikTok, you got to post regularly. And I'm like, I don't even like being on Instagram.
Dude,
so
it's so real.
And you have some people that tell you, I totally agree.
Content creators, and like, I'm here to like, it already takes all of my energy and soul to create music.
Right.
Like, to then have to create like a social media posts is just such a horrible use of time, but it's unfortunately a necessary evil. And I just,
It's so true. And it's just, I want to spend less time on my phone. And so the fact that the industry is really switching to, you know, if you have more followers, then you're going to book more gigs because they think that you're going to bring more people and sell more tickets. Although there was a study that, who is the DJ that Goldman Sachs? Yes, Goldman Sachs came out with a study that said social media following has no correlation to ticket sales.
I so believe that, because like, you think about a jam band who, like, they don't even have very many streams on Spotify, and they also don't have big like social followings, and then they can sell a stadium out 3 nights in a row. It just is like, it just depends on your, and are we talking about hard tickets, or are we talking about like, there's just so many different factors that go into that, and the genres and the, it is a really interesting game, but for some reason it's still a metric that promoters will look at. Yeah, I feel that really hard. Well, I say keep doing you, put your head down, do it whenever you can, focus on the music, like focus on building community and a fan base, and that's the shit that will really help you, you know?
Right.
What advice would you give your younger self? Last question.
I guess it sounds so cliche, but follow your heart, because even when I was really little, like really loving the Spice Girls, I was like, I want to be a Spice Girl. And my mom was like, no, you're not going to be a Spice Girl, you know? And then I started to become really inspired by music and DJs, and I was always like, oh, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. But it's almost like the industry decided for me. Like, it was almost like I didn't really make these decisions to start DJing professionally, but they were made for me. Somehow they were like, no, this is what you're going to do. And, you know,
awesome.
Bora wouldn't let me say no. And then when I was kind of like, you know, because one of the struggles I find is dating, especially, you know, I don't know your relationship status, but I do think this career choice is difficult to date.
Oh my God.
And so and maintain a relationship and
dating pretty easy. Maintaining a relationship hard.
Right, meeting amazing guys, amazing, really easy. But meeting amazing guys that are confident enough and secure enough to have a partner that's in the nightlife industry, not so easy. And so I was hitting that kind of like rut in my path, and that's when Bora, I was in Ibiza. He texted me, "Are you in Ibiza? Come over." And he's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "What, you should be killing it right now. Like, what's going on?" He's like, "You're getting in your own way." And I was like, well, you know, I feel like I need to choose love or career. He's like, "It's bullshit." Like, he just gave me such an ass kicking. Yeah. And so I said, okay.
I can tell you, I'll offline with you about this, but I think that is bullshit. And actually what it does is that the beauty of this career is that the best will rise to the top. The people who will really support you and like stand by your side and be on this journey with you, like they're harder to find, but when you do find them, you actually get to find them because your career sort of like makes the others have to go away.
Right.
So I actually think the silver lining is that, you know, like the good ones will rise to the top for you.
Let's see.
Well, thank you for being a guest on Femme House Radio. We adore you. We think you're a fantastic DJ. We're so excited to support your music when you're ready. And we love what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to connect and hope to see you soon.